Hi, sweeties. How are you doing? Welcome to Naya Singles. Naya, thank you so much for the support. Hope you all are doing great. So I came across a video where I think she's Arab, but maybe Arab or Palestinian, right? She started by that the kind of marginalization that they experience in U.S. empire. And I am like, are you serious? Like you people that are privileged, right? That is saying that you are the most marginalized group of people in American empire. I am really trying so hard to wrap my head around it, but I am just going to leave it at that. I am trying so hard to find the original video, but I couldn't. This is the best, like I have searched for it. I couldn't find it, right? But then while I was also making research, I also saw something really very important. How somebody was talking about how Black people is the only people that know very well. And he really went so further to hit hammer on the nail. And then I came across a video also talking about why there are white people are not talking so much how the accurate history of the things that happen to people that look like me and the things they did to people like me during slavery. I didn't know how, but this is actually worth listening.
Just a thought today. There is nobody in America who has more cause to hate this country and its institutions of power than Black people. There is no disenfranchised or marginalized group that has been more consistently dehumanized and brutalized by this country and its institutions of power. There is no group that would be more justified in refusing to participate in any form of civic duty. And what do Black Americans do? They fucking vote. They vote overwhelmingly in a unified voice for harm reduction because Black Americans understand that their vote is not a seal of approval. It is a necessary and strategic chess move about who they would feel safest fighting. There's a very obvious reason why pro-Palestinian protesters exclusively demonstrated at Harris rallies and never at Trump rallies. And it's because they knew they were safer at Harris rallies. They knew they had a better chance of being heard and considered at Harris rallies. They knew that if they showed up at a Trump rally, they would quite literally be in physical danger. You don't have to like Democrats to vote for them. You don't have to like how they've treated you or your loved ones. You don't have to approve of how they spend your tax dollars. You don't have to approve of anything that they do. All you have to believe is that you would have an easier time advocating for the safety of your community under Democratic leadership than you would under Republican leadership. You can say, I refused to sign my name to a genocide and pat yourself on the back all you want. You still have to answer for what you did sign your name to. You still have to answer the question, did my choice make the people that I care most about more safe or less safe?
Identity. The levels of marginalization that we experience here within the U.S. empire.
I took a trip to the Lorraine Motel Museum in Memphis, Tennessee. It was on our anniversary last year. And the very first thing I saw was this. On the cusp of the Civil War in 1860, the nation had nearly 4 million slaves. They were worth more than $3 billion, roughly 10 trillion today. That number never leaves my mind. It never does. The reason it never leaves my mind is this. a lot of what a lot of white folks want to call CRT, which is actually American history, makes white folks feel uncomfortable. So on the one hand, you have people who outright don't want to talk about it, don't want to talk about it, don't want shit to do with it. They're running from it like the plague. And then there's white people like you who want to look outside of the United States, look outside the history of the United States to try to find someone to fight for. You were just now waking up to the knowledge that American exceptionalism means marginalized communities around the world get hurt. I'm going to say that sentence one more time so you can hear it. You are just now waking up to the knowledge that American exceptionalism harms marginalized communities around the world. You know why I'm saying this? Because you didn't pay any attention to it when it was happening here. Why do you think Native people don't have an entire state? They just have pockets, little reservations. Why do you think redlined communities look like they do? Why do you think migrant workers are being rounded up right now? If you're upset about it happening overseas, then you should have been raising hell when it was happening here, but you didn't. That's a daunting task, isn't it? A little bit too big. Just a tad bit too big. Too big. A tasking that will require you to actually do some soul searching and ask yourself, have you benefited from the, marginalization of people here? When you can ignore all of that because it's, comfortable to you and fight for someone overseas. There's a man in your comment section that told you this. Those marginalized communities have been fighting for people inside the United States and outside the United States longer than you've been alive. You are literally, quite literally, late to the party. Native and indigenous people have been fighting against American imperialism since the boats showed up. We, those of us with melanin in our skin, have been fighting against American imperialism since the chains came off. You know how you love using Martin Luther King? Did you ever read anything else he was doing? Did you ever wonder why he was making all these stirring speeches? Now you fighting overseas. You can't even deal with the shits here. I use my privilege. You should have used it here. That confrontation with mom and dad you keep running from should have already happened. But y'all forgot you're righteous in your fight. Because you never have to look at the results of the people that you're fighting for. You don't. And if you did, it wouldn't matter. Because you would ignore them. Just like you've ignored the imperialism that has happened to marginalized communities in the United States longer than even your mom and dad have been here. You're an ally, I guess.
This is such a powerful comment. It really deserves to be highlighted. This is also true of the American South. There is a saying, blacks know more about white folks than they know about themselves. Now, I can't speak about the experience of being a black person who's a victim of racism, but as a white South African who grew up under apartheid, I do know something about the psychology of being racist. Now, in apartheid South Africa, white people controlled the economy. We had all the gold mines and the platinum and the diamonds and everything else. But there was one natural resource that black people had in abundance, that they had far more access to than white people. And that natural resource was the truth. Particularly the truth about white people. You see, in a racist society, as a racist, you need to constantly be tying yourself up in cognitive dissonance. You need to be contradicting yourself dozens of times a day. So in South Africa, for example, we believed that black people were lazy, that they didn't want to do any work. They just wanted to sit around all day and do nothing. But who did we get to dig the mines, to work in the factories, to drive the buses, deliver the post, build the houses? It was black people. We believed that black people were dirty, but who did we rely on to clean our houses? We believed that black people couldn't be trusted, but who was left unsupervised to look after our children? You see, what racism does is it forces the racist to act like a little child who will demand whatever they need at a particular moment, even if it's contradictory. Sometimes a black person will be like your child and you'll tell them what to do. But sometimes you'll be the child and they'll be the adult. They'll be the one making your bed, cooking your dinner, even comforting you when you're in emotional distress. Racism damages white people profoundly, and then black people are the victims of that damage. We transmit that damage into their lives. But fundamentally, black people will always know more about white people as long as white people continue to be racist, because they will have the objectivity of being able to see that cognitive dissonance from the outside. This is what the writer Rebecca Solnit says about this issue, which sums it up much better than I ever could. I always pair privilege with obliviousness. Obliviousness is privilege's form of deprivation. When you don't hear others, you don't imagine them, they become unreal, and you are left in the wasteland of a world with only yourself in it. And that surely makes you starving, though you know not for what, if you have ceased to imagine others in any true, deep way that matters.
Accurate history is teaching white Americans how white slave owners raped, beat, humiliated, mutilated, murdered, and cannibalized their slaves. Accurate history is teaching that George Washington's false teeth were made out of his slaves' teeth. Accurate history is teaching that Abraham Lincoln may have said some words and signed some shit, but he did not physically do anything to free the slaves. The white abolitionists also often get almost total credit for freeing the slaves. I bet you've never even asked yourself what the slaves were doing to free themselves, and the answer to that is most of the fucking work, including giving the ultimatum of war. But then we get a bunch of white people mad that their kids might feel guilty if we teach real history. It's not about your white child's feelings. Teaching accurate history isn't about white people's feelings, but that does sound like something that someone who's only ever been taught a white glorifying version of history would counter with. Ask why we ever felt like we needed to curate a false version of what white people did and did not do to black people to begin with. And then ask yourself why white-ass politicians are verbally attacking real history by calling it slurs, which is, by default, also the act of calling black people slurs.
This is all I got from this video. There is a whole lot to unpack from this video. And I really do hope that they are the ones to do the job, because black people cannot be unpacking what you are supposed to be unpacking. It really breaks my heart is shattered, knowing fully well that each time black people wake up, there will be something that may happen, because nothing is guaranteed. Because tell me how a particular people, like all years, all time, all day, is being attacked. Why? You see this history. One thing I know for sure is that American history is African American history. American history is black people's history. Till whenever. And the fact that a lot is being done to cover it up, to make it look like nothing happened, to make it look like it was just not that bad, because so far we've been hearing it was not just that bad, and that is to the ones that will even talk about it. And the fact that people like me would rather be hurt. I mean, it's okay for people like me to be hurt right, than them saying the truth. There is no need saying the truth because there is no need to talk about it. Don't say it, don't talk about it. It never happened. It benefited them. They were the ones that benefited more. When we talk about who built America, absolutely it was built on Black people from beginning to the end. And that is one of the reasons why each time I talk about reparations, and I keep saying reparation has been long overdue. They should pay Black people reparations now. And if they had paid reparations long before now, trust me, anybody that would have stayed back would have been someone that wanted to stay back. Because give them the money, give them what they are supposed to get, let them do whatever they want to do with it. Isn't that it? Black people wake up to slurs every day. There is no anti-Black bill. But every other person, they all got one. But get for my people? No, they are not getting it. Black kids grow up so fast. Why? Because why would you grow up so fast? Why would you not grow up so fast? Because at 10, at 11, at 9, you are already being mistaken as an adult. Why wouldn't you grow up very fast? Every other person have grace. Kids, Black people, Black kids do not get that grace. Because why? They grow up so fast. A Black child cannot even stay outside and play with a mobile phone without getting a call to probably the mobile phone is like a Pe0ple. Or walking on the street, you look like the description. Because as always, why are they scared of teaching the real history? Because they don't want other people to know, or their younger ones to know, or their kids to know what they did. For how long are you going to run away from it? Ban books, ban Black history, ban African American history, ban everything that got to do with Black people. What are you scared? Why are you scared? Why are you scared? Not until you all wake up. Now, my people, because long time ago, we are already woke. When I say Black people are woke, the Black people are absolutely woke because they see through all your lenses. Everybody is very busy to talk about how marginalized they are, and then they don't want to talk about how Black people have been the ones going through it since how many years ago. Now they know how marginalized they are. Like they are the most marginalized. Are you telling me the truth that you are the most marginalized group? Interesting, Absolutely sounds very interesting. But you know what? We are not competing who suffered the most or who did not suffer the most. But the truth is the truth. And you all know the truth. But everybody's looking for a way to turn it the way to favor him or her. Well, for how long do you want to keep doing that? We are going to keep fighting because it is not over, not until it is over. See you all in my next video. Bye for now.